Okay, how's this sound? Okay, how about now? What about this? I'm not sure yet. Could be better. You know what? It's good enough. Okay, let's get started, fart fans. So we are doing the World of Warcraft Fire Mage. Yes, now we are on to fire. This is the last of the 3 specializations, and now my door is popped open. I gotta close that. Ah. Gotta keep the animals out, or else they'll be popping in and out all night long. Alright, so back to it. I know the thumbnail used Jaina Proudmore. Jaina? Jaina? I think it'll be better to say Jaina Proudmore. I know it used her, but I wasn't trying to recreate her or anything. Honestly, this is just Agrias with, you know, different hairstyle, hair color, and some slight alteration to her face. I didn't feel like doing too much. So, yeah, okay, let's get this one going. Let's get this started. Oh, actually, before we get started, let me say a few things. I know that this says it starts, you know, the stream starts at 11, blah, blah, blah. I've always started at 11:30 or later, actually often much later. I don't know why it would say starts at 11 o'clock. YouTube, the time keeps changing. I set it to be like a certain time, but it always seems to change. I always start these things after 11:30, so don't come at 11 and be like, why is he not starting yet? And like, I always do these things after 11:30, okay? So, and second thing, this is actually Thanksgiving weekend in Canada, and I do have family showing up at the end of the weekend, so I'm not going to be streaming on Sunday. I'll try and get this done in 2 days rather than 3. No, I'm not coming back on Monday. I honestly didn't expect family to show up here this weekend. Usually they just show up, like I'll have like a couple people in the middle of the day and then that's it, but they're coming here for some reason. That's how it worked out, I guess. So yeah. So just so you know. Where's my mouse? How did my mouse get misplaced? There you go. Alright, anyway. Now let's get started. 1 second. Hey Fart fans, welcome back. It's Dave Sicily here, and yes, we're doing another round of a World of Warcraft Mage build. This time, the Fire Mage. Now, the Fire Mage was quite a bit trickier than the other 2 specializations. One, I never actually played a Fire Mage in World of Warcraft. I just never focused that hard on my mage to actually like get to a point where I was like high level or powerful to start, you know, focusing on fire. I was always just ice level up, then arcane, and then I usually wouldn't go much farther than that. It wasn't my primary character. And second of all, see the fire spells. When I was looking at the fire spells for Fire Mage, I discovered that in Elden Ring, while there are a lot of fire spells, and there's a lot of fire spells in World of Warcraft, the fire spells all kind of look the same in World of Warcraft. I mean, yes, you got a fireball, yes, you got a dragon head that spews fire, yes, you have some AoEs, but when it all said and done, almost all the fire spells basically boil down to throw some fire, enemy burns, you know, maybe there's an explosion, that's it. So when I picked the fire spells this time for this build, I focus more on trying to replicate the final effect more than the actual spell itself. So I have some a little unusual choices for what's going to be standing in for these fire spells for Fire Mage, because I had to choose what worked, like what actually resembled the original spell. So here we go. Let's go through the list. Where is my list? There we go. So we have Fireball. So for the place of Fireball, we have Black Flame. I know, it's a black flame, it's not a red flame, but you know what? It's the only spell I could find that involved throwing a fireball a decently long distance, because Fireball actually had the longest distance of all the spells, I think, that the mage had, and it has a little bit of a dot on it, which is what Fireball does. It has a little bit of a dot, right? It's not just the main damage, there's a dot. That's what the fire was. It was all about the dots. And what else do we have here? We have Fire Blast kind of taking the place of Incinerate and Scorch. Actually, no, it's not Incinerate. So Fire Blast and Scorch. So, because Fire Blast was the instant one, right? And remember, I'm talking about spells from like World of War, from Wrath of the Lich King original, not the current version. The current version, the spells have changed so much, I don't know. Everything after Shadowlands, and I was barely paying attention at Shadowlands anyway. I think the last time I put any real time to my mage in the expansions was Legion, and it was still roughly similar. So Fire Blast takes the place of this ability that's kind of instant and kind of fast. Remember, the thing about Incinerate was just rapid casts, right? Or was it called Scorch? Incinerate? Scorch. What do I keep seeing? Maybe it was called... Anyway, Scorch and Fire Blast, where Fire Blast was instant, whatever, that's... I don't even know if I'll get to use it. We're going to skip over this one for now. Flame Grant Me Strength. It just takes the place of the spell that buffs fire damage, because, you know, all the mage specializations had some sort of spell or buff or ability that buffed the damage. For Frost, it was usually more along the lines of casting speed, which is why I don't actually have much in the way of casting speed for this class. With Fire Spell, no, you didn't have casting speed. There were a few talents that did, but for the most part, it was a long cast, big damage. So we are not doing casting speed, but they did have an ability that increased their regular damage, so thus Flame Grant Me Strength. This will be the Pyroblast. Why Flame Take Me stands in for Pyroblast? Because it's a really big-ass fireball, and that's what Pyroblast was. It doesn't have the dot on it, though, unfortunately. What else do we have here? Once again, we have... you know, Bloodhound Step taking the place of Blink, because the actual spell that's most like it, I think Miriam's Vanishing, I think it's called, this does not actually replicate the effect. It looks similar, but is not actually the same. What actually is like Blink is the instant disappearance to safety, whereas Miriam's Vanishing did not do that. Where's that? Going over my list, I mean, Cauterize, like, I did not do any of the like special talent spells that they added by Mists of Pandaria, and beyond that, there's too many of them. And honestly, like I said, a lot of them are all just the same kind of spell. I mean, they all have different mechanical effects, but the actual execution was basically just throw fire, target burns, right? So I was focusing on the mechanical effects, and frankly, I had too many spells to deal with anyway. Fire Strike. What is Fire Strike? Fire Strike is Flame of the Fell God. So yes. This spell does not look like Fire Strike, but what does this spell do? After a long delay, there's a big blast and then a long, wide AoE dot. And that is what Flame Strike did. Let me see if I got the right one. Maybe I got the wrong spell. I think it was called Flame Strike. Whatever, the one that was their AoE fire spell. You cast it, it was a long cast. Okay, not that long cast. You hit the area, there was a big blast of damage from the spell, and then a long dot. And that is exactly what the spell does, even though the fireball is not similar at all. But that's our Flame Strike. In terms of mechanical execution, it is very similar. And what else am I missing here? Well, I'm missing something. But I'm already through my list. Okay. Anyway, so this... and then of course we have... what was that? Right. And of course we have our dragon head. I think it was called Pyroblast. It looks almost exactly the same as the spell from World of Warcraft. Dragon's head appears. You get an AoE strike, AoE blast. What's it called? No, wait, no. Pyroblast is the big fireball. What's the one I'm looking for here? Oh, okay, right. I didn't go far enough down the list. Okay, I'm not looking at the same list as I had last time. So we have Dragon's... Okay, it's called Dragon's Breath. Duh. Okay, so there's Dragon's Breath, and what else we have? And there is a spell. I think it's Blast Wave. And there's two buffs. There's one buff that like sets you on fire. It's just like fire resistant spell or something. And Blast Wave, which is just like an AoE. At that time, anyway, it seems to have changed. But when I played, Blast Wave was just like an AoE that centered on you. And this spell covers that perfectly. It's an AoE spell, and it covers that buff where you set yourself on fire. I know that's not what Blast Wave really did, but I catch two birds with one stone, two spells with one stone with this one spell alone. So that's what we're doing. That is the spell. That's the setup for my World of Warcraft Fire Mage. I'm still on fire. Ah! Nah, it's okay. It's a buff, so apparently the fact that I'm doing damage doesn't go away. As for the build, once again, to reiterate, this was a tricky one. Because, you know, the past two builds, I was just like, everything into int, everything into int, even if we don't need it, everything into int. I couldn't do that this time, because most of these fire spells are incantations, which means everything was in faith. Well, not everything. I still had to put some into intelligence, and even though there is actually no speed casting, this is just for leveling, don't worry about that. Even though there was no speed casting for fire magic, I still, well, there were some talents that still increased the cast speed of some spells, so I'm still going to put some points in dexterity, maybe at least get up to 40, possibly, to try and lower it somewhat, because I checked, there's the talisman that lowers the casting speed really helps, but again, it's not actually a thing for fire spells, so no talismans to decrease fire spells, unless it's dexterity, which could represent the maybe 5 or 10% cast speed decrease that you might get from equipment anyway, so that's fair. Lots of mind, usual, low vigor, because mages had low HP, and unfortunately an even split of faith and intelligence, and this time there's going to be no dumping into int, because it's just not going to do anything for me this time. I mean, I'll probably still stick it in there, because I am using the Staff of the Great Beyond, which is B in both. I think they both apply when using the staff, so there's still a reason to get in up to 60. So unfortunately, in terms of... So what I'm saying here is, in terms of recreating the character this time for Elden Ring, there is no just piling int and stuff. No, this time it was just make it work however I can, and this is how I did it. It's not anything. This is not like the previous two builds. Sorry, that's just the way it is. To get these spells and get this set up, I had to do it this way. That's just the breaks. And again, why not use an incant? Like, you're probably asking, why are you using a staff? I'm like, well, because mages use staffs, right? Yes, I know they're all incantations, but I gotta use a staff. I'm a mage. That's what they use. They use staffs. And originally, I also had some sorceries and incantations. It just so happened I ended up settling on just incantations. So it was nice to have this staff so I can cast both without having to think about it. That's why, but in the end I ended up with just incantations, but I'm not changing now. Anyway, there's the build, that's the setup, there's the spells. Let's get started. Now, as you can see, I actually had someone, there were some people now starting, like I've said in the past, if anyone complained, oh, if I'm killing rolling through these bosses, no problem, anyone saying, well, some people finally said something. So I skipped through all the early bosses past Radon, so I'm sitting out here outside Morgott. I know, I'm sorry, you missed everything. Not really, I rolled through them like nothing. And again, there's going to be no Sunday stream, right? So I got to get through this quickly. I know I'm spending all this time talking, I should be going through it quickly, but you know how it goes. Sometimes this goes pretty fast. And I am definitely not going to spend too much time on any one boss because, you know, as per last week, my previous issues, they haven't gone away. So I gotta get through this stuff, not quickly, I don't want to say quickly, but, you know, like, there will be no time for lingering. Anyway, just like last time, I have my starting equipment, but since we are at what would be, like, the equivalent to, like, I don't know, level 50 content in World of Warcraft, so we gotta upgrade our armor. I just wanted to show it to you for now. So, what would be doing as a fire mage? Now, I know what we had as a Forsaken, but I'm not a Forsaken this time. I'm gonna have some more decent armor. I'm trying to avoid using the wool cloak because the wool cloak, if you guys remember in World of Warcraft, was like one of the early tailoring recipes, and everyone would have this stupid thing. Even the priests, the mages, everyone. It was too good. I think it was like something like 10 or 11, or was it 6 int and 11 spirit, something like that. It was something like this. It was really good for like a first cloak, and like so much like this one that's here, or is it this one? But so we're just gonna put on something slightly better. Hell, you'll never notice my hands anyway. Yeah, that's good. That looks more like a higher level build. Okay, enough blabbing. Way too much blabbing now. And how am I going to cast all these spells while trying to recreate everything perfectly? I won't. I will not. It's too many spells. There's no way I can cycle through all these spells. I'm sorry. It's just the way they cycle through, the way Elden Ring does this. Instead of giving me like hotkeys for a bunch of different spells, or even like I even have these hotkeys. Like there's 4 right there. I can't use them for spells. So there's no way I'm going to be able to capture everything, every spell like you would see in World of Warcraft. I'll try, but that's just the way it is. I don't know what to tell you guys. Alright, we'll try it without any help. Ow. Oh, I have a talisman slot still unequipped. Fire Blast! I'm bouncy. Dragon's Fire. This is actually a weak spell because it's more arcane based. Fireball. Plus dot. I should be using Blink, but I'm not used to using it now. I was doing Dancer, I got used to dodging again. No, no. Yes, this is what I need, but it's going to take too long. Ah, crap. Oh, shoot, bud. Don't you dare kill me. Oh, hoo hoo. Yeah, okay, that went quickly. I am surprised how quick. Well, I shouldn't be too surprised. I did notice that the damage was really quite high with this. Like, this is not like Frost at all. Like, okay, Frost, I was a little surprised how low the damage ended up being, but you're mostly going on Frost procs and stuff like that. I was not happy with how Frost turned out. Arcane was surprising because, well, Spiral Shards, that's all it's to it. I mean, all the spells actually ended up being pretty powerful. Especially they were very spammable, but Spiral Shards just took the cake. It was just sheer raw damage. I don't have any spells like that with this setup. So I doubt you'll see any of that happening.
Allow me, you are unable prevented the thorns. A husk, the only way can become my purpose. So I'd like you to the flame then and guide you.
Yeah. The animals are back. Dex at this point is the most useful stat, and I could certainly use more mine. I don't know, this time I need a lot more stats than before. That's right, you go to bed. Go to bed, Sonny. That's right, you paw that pillow. Oh, right, I was gonna see how fighting this guy would go. I think I ended up skipping them with the Pyrodancer. I'm not sure this is technically a fire spell. Nope, not this spell. I was pressing the button, but I'm a little early for this. No, this is definitely not the best spell. Oh, it hit twice. Have a poke of my fiery dagger. Hey, it works, it works. So, you may have remembered that in my last stream I was really complaining about the buttons not responding. Yeah, that, I know, I complained a little too much. I tried to edit some of that out. I agree, it was annoying. But I was really curious. So right after that stream ended, I went and played Marvel Rivals. Now, I know what you're thinking. If you were so damn tired that you couldn't continue the stream, why did you go play Marvel Rivals? Well, I said, well, that's kind of the point. I was trying to see for sure, well, that game is very demanding on reflexes and speed and precision. And if I am constantly missing my button presses there and everything's not working, or if the buttons aren't responding or whatever, I'll see it in Marvel Rivals, absolutely, definitely, because, you know, especially if I used my characters, because remember, it was the R1 button and the dodge button that were giving me my biggest problems. So, chugging potions and dodging, right? I remap all my buttons, and maybe your buttons are a little different. So that's why I decided to do that test in Marvel Rivals to see if it really is the controller or if it's me or what. And will you... Okay, let me... Oh, you're freaking kidding me. There's always one. You guys never even get on this stupid elevator. Now I gotta make this stupid run all the way back. Always one. There's always one. I gotta shut my door again because the cat opened it. Stupid. They never get onto the elevator like that. Usually they fall away. Okay, sometimes they do get on the elevator, but... Well, how's my... Oh, right, I have absolutely no damage resistance. This is pretty painful, actually, the kind of damage resistance I got going for this build. But at least I didn't have to worry about juggling sorcery incantations. Since I end up settling entirely on incantations, I don't have to think too much about sorceries, so that was good. I do have to fill that slot, though, when I get to that elevator. So anyway, to finish that thought, so I actually, what I determined is something I already theorized and suggested before, because I found out that even though I was dead tired, and playing Marvel Rivals, where you'll definitely notice a slow button or something button press, I did not. I did not encounter any behavior where pressing this button did not respond, or this or that, or if I missed anything, it was just like all me. There was definitely no moment or no time where I felt like the buttons just were flat out not responding. They did everything they were supposed to do, with the exception of there's 2 characters I actually have that are glitched. But I'm not going to get into that. But for Marvel Rivals, no one watches my Marvel Rivals streams anyway, so who cares? I just have 2 characters that for some reason the controls are always broken for them. I reported the glitch. I don't know. Anyway, so... But otherwise, for everyone else, it was fine. So the only thing I can conclude, which I've actually suggested before, is that when the PS5 is streaming live, it seems to mess with the button timings. Like lag, I guess. Just call it lag, you know, native ping, whatever. It seems to mess with it a bit. I have no idea how you fix that. I don't think... Maybe on a computer there's all sorts of little things you can do to improve lag or button thing or, you know, stream lag or anything so that doesn't happen. But since Elden Ring already has an issue where they've discovered that the higher your frame rates, the better your button presses are. So this is what I've actually said in the past. I've tried fighting Radahn on my PS4 when the game constantly sits at like 30, 24 FPS, especially against Consort Radahn, and I can't beat him for nothing. Right? I just can't. And then I bring the game up onto the PS5 and I play it and I beat him first try. So we know that more frames in Elden Ring makes a difference on your dodge timings, which is I also think is a little bit of a secret when you see these guys who are these pro streamers who play Elden Ring all day and they look like, you know, masters who dodge everything. Consider the fact that they're probably running at like 200, 300 FPS, right? So it's not an insignificant factor. It makes it. Plus, some of them might be using cheats. I know they use cheats. They've been caught using cheats. So don't say it doesn't happen. And I'm not saying they all do, but there are things you can do, okay, to make it a lot easier. Even just a little bit easier. I mean, even just a little bit easier is enough, right? Like 1 or 2 extra frames of dodge window. You can do that. Okay, let's put on this talisman here. What am I going to put here? So anyway, no, I determined it didn't happen in Elden Ring. I put on another game another day. It didn't happen. Okay, no, it did. It did happen in Marvel Rivals. It didn't happen in another game. All the buttons seemed to respond just fine, and I was playing just fine. But the moment I put on the stream again, that little issue I've noticed. So what should I put here? It cropped up. So it's something to do with streaming. That seems to like lag the frame rate or something. It's causing something that's causing like missing a frame or missing a button press or something, which is totally understandable and reasonable. You know, you got a system running a game and it's running my mic audio, it's running the game audio, it's background process, and now it has to handle a stream on top of that. And at 1080p, I'm not like going for minimum values. I'm going maximum values here. So yeah, there are issues. I can't think of anything. I can't do shortened spell casting speed because that's sort of against the rules of the build. I mean, lowering the FP would be great, but my HP is already shit. Then spell effect duration, I guess that could be useful. Skills, not spells, though. Okay, with tap guard skills. No charging again. I know. The fire spells, there's a lot of fire spells that have a charge effect to them. But no chargings. Mages and World of Warcraft, they didn't have charge spells. They don't charge the spells, so it's not an option there. It's not an option here. And it's weapon throwing attacks. Potency of magma. There's some magma going on. I'm not using it that much. You know what? I'm not sure. For now, I'm just going to put on this thing, and I'll think about it some more. Because there is no doubt I need the armor. Spellcasting speed and reduced FP usage would definitely be the nicest thing, because these fire spells are kind of pricey. But I'm also not using those staffs, the Azure staff and the Lazuli staff, the ones that increase FP usage, for either more power or a faster cast speed. I'm not using any of them. So I can't use any of them. I'm casting incantations with those staffs, so I have no choice. I gotta use the staff. There's no other way. So don't have to deal with any of that with those two staffs. So it's kind of nice for a change, having just one staff and that's it. And I know I'm leaving a lot of damage off the table because I imagine there's some catalyst or something. I don't know, what are they called in Elden Ring? Sacred seals. Okay. I've never used the sacred seals, really. I mean, yeah, I've kind of dabbled in them a couple times now, but I didn't end up actually using any. This is like the first time I've gone heavy with incantations, and I was trying to create like a fire mage, an arcane mage. So it's funny that it ended up this way as a sort of fire faith build. But yeah, it's nice to have just the one staff to think about for a change. I imagine there's some seal or something that gives me bonus fire damage, but it's just not in the cards this time. But it's still pretty high. 1,000, 1,300 damage there. I'm not even like fully buffed out. Fire Giant can potentially be a pest. But, well, okay, it was a problem for the Pyrodancer, but, I was having that was a horrible weekend for me. But my point was, the Fire Giant didn't have that much damage reduction, or if any, to fire. So, maybe it won't be that big a problem. And more importantly, that's probably one of the reasons why, that's not the reason why I got Black Flame Bolt. I got Black Flame Fire because it acts most like Fireball. But, as we saw with Arcane Mage, if you're up against a creature or mob or enemy or whatever that has like that extremely high resistance, you're screwed, and you're stuck with one fire spell. Now, thankfully, mages, by default, they have a lot of different spells. They don't just, you don't pick a fire mage from day one in World of Warcraft, right? You start as a base build, and then you just specialize. When you go down that specialization list, you just get better in those one type of spells. But you still have all the other spells. You know, just not the specialization spells, right? So it was perfectly within my rules to start casting fireball spells against Renala. Renala. It always happens. Those two mixed up. So, but that's not why I'm using Black Flame Fireball. But anyway, Black Flame Fireball should, I believe it's not just fire damage against the Fire Giant, so it's not why I chose it, but I'm glad I have it. Let's just put it this way. Because I don't think it's a pure fire spell. I think it's a double. Is there like a frost thing going on? Black Flame is like frost and fire or something. I don't know. But I'm glad I have it for the frost, for the fire deck. But again, keep in mind, since I'm condensing this to 2 days now, because again, Sunday, Thanksgiving, family. Unfortunately, the walls to this TV room is kind of thin. My dad's going to be staying in my guest room, and unfortunately, the walls of the guest room are shockingly, well, they're not that thin. I don't know. You can hear everything. So I can't be doing this when he's here, and he's very, he has a lot of issues of his own, so I can't just tell him to screw off. I mean, maybe you can tell your dad to screw off, but I don't want to do that. So yeah, so that's another reason why I absolutely cannot. I'm trying to fit in, and I haven't ran to Millennia yet. Well, I probably won't be able to run to Millennia, because that's a lot of extra time on the clock. And plus, Millennia ends up being like one of more of the final bosses anyway. So we'll just say we'll do the Pharaoh Zula guys, the vanilla guys, and hopefully if it doesn't take too long, we'll go to Moog and try and get into the DLC. But first, let's get this level, because this build is requiring more stats than the other ones. This is not a dump everything into situation. It's just not possible this time. So this time we gotta actually spread the points around. I don't like it, but this is one of those, just recreate the spell as best I can sort of deal, or recreate the build as best I can sort of things. Recreate the spell as best. Alright, skip time. God, I hope this works, because this would save me a lot of time tonight. I've been getting it more consistently lately, though. I even got it on stream, or I think I did. I did one on stream, or I think I did it before the stream actually started, and I was just sitting there. Well, anyway, never mind. Alright, here we go. You know how it goes. As soon as it switches to the kill cam... Oh, I was too busy saying to myself that as soon as it switches to the kill cam, I forgot to actually press the jump button. Well, that's okay. I doubt I'll have time to get to Moog. Anyway, this is also not going to be a late stream. I absolutely cannot afford to stay up too late anymore due to issues. So this is going to have to be one of these, like, well, what you get is what you get sort of deals. I still haven't started playing The Last Berserker. Is it called The Last Berserker? Whatever, the Kazan game. I got it sitting right here on my shelf. It's right in front of me. I haven't started playing it yet. I don't know. I've been, well, okay, I've been dealing with other things. Not busy, just issues. But I hope to get into it soon. And Chronos, of course. That's going to be more like a Halloween thing. That one, though, that one I always intended to just, like, just play through it quickly and then, toss it. Apparently it's only like a 9-hour game. So I don't see the point in, like, just putting it on my shelf and just leaving it there. There's going to be one of these times where I just, I got it, going to play through it. As soon as I'm done, get rid of it. Sort of deals. Yeah, it's weird how when there's a game that's either short or I'm just like okay with it, I don't love it that much, I'm more willing to play through it really quickly than games I actually really want to play. But, you know, I'd explained this before. If it was a game I really want to play, I want to make sure I savor it. I want to make sure I enjoy it. I want to make sure that I can... You know what? Fighting him with fire might be pretty easy, but... Sorry, it's just... This stream fell on Thanksgiving weekend, and I only got 2 days, so... Plus, I just flat out don't like that dragon. Even though this is probably the one build that'd probably beat him pretty easily. But apparently some people don't like me beating bosses easily, so... Okay then. Oddly, even though I have those games, I have actually been playing Disgaea recently. Anyone play Disgaea? Everyone hear of Disgaea? Must have heard of it by now. It's got like 7 games, and that's not including the spin-offs. I think there's like a fighting game spin-off. There was a sequel to the first game, like a sequel to that story, and there may have been like other spin-offs, and there's been a re-release on practically every platform, I think. It's been on Game Pass, right? So someone must have heard of Disgaea by now. I found my copy of Disgaea 1, and I was just like, oh, right, when did I get this? Like, you know what? I'm going to play this. I haven't played Disgaea 5 or 7 yet. I'm not going to play 6. It's awful. But everyone said 5 is the best one, and then 6 was awful because they cut back all the good stuff that made 5 great. And then 7 was apparently a return to form and brought everything back that made 5 great, from what I hear. So, but yeah, no. So I was like, well, wait a minute. If you haven't gotten around to the first Berserker yet, why are you playing this guy, right? Well, because I've been playing it on my PS4, and my PS4 is by my TV, and when I'm watching TV at night for like an hour or two, I can... Yes, I play video games while watching TV. Okay. Well, I'm sure a lot of you do it. Okay, if I'm watching a show that's like really good, I'm not going to be gaming at the same time. I'm be too invested in the show to play the game, but most of the time the shows I'm watching are just like, eh. So it feels like I can have the game running. I don't know, like, you know, a few hours of TV and this stuff a night. It's like, well, that's like, I get more gaming done that way. I actually rarely have time to, like at night, I can't really justify gaming into the night anymore, and I'm too busy in the morning, because that's usually when I'm only feeling well enough to actually do anything. So, okay, let's stop talking. I actually need fire resistance for this one, ironically. Well, not ironically. And we are going to do... Okay, as usual, try this without any help first. But I suspect this one will be a real pain for this build, so I am not going to mess around with it. We'll try it once by myself. But then we're going to get help. And as I like to have... I'd like to variate with my spirit ashes. So this time I got the Battle Mage Guild, I think his name is. No, Hughes. You know, just for something different. Honestly, I am too afraid to try any of the other spells. I really do believe they're going to do way less damage in comparison. Okay, well, let's just give it a try. I mean, it would be nice to use the spells it keeps using on me, just for some revenge for a change. But I have a feeling that's not going to work. No, I definitely got to use Black Flame. Whoa, thanks for taking that for me, Torrent. Also, these fire spells have more range than it looks. You can actually throw them fairly accurately if you throw them like up in the air. Get out of the way. Okay, I guess I'll just drink mana potion while I'm here. So I'm going to be standing behind your shield that whole time. Yeah, this looks like there's going to be more of a mana sort of thing than damage thing. Right in the face. Whoa, good lord, I am really getting lucky with avoiding these spells tonight. About time I got some luck. And because the dot is, well, actually, I don't know if it's percentage based, but it doesn't make a difference that he's doing any of that. Because of that. Another spell that fell like right next to me and it didn't land. Wow, this is what it's like to be lucky. Like, I'll have maybe one lucky shot in a fight. But this is like, I must have had at least 4 or 5 abilities if his hacks didn't land while I'm not using Blink. Jeez, again. That fireball should have hit me just then. Okay. Streak over. And you got a panty shot. Not my fault. I'm sorry. The camera's stupid. Actually, I don't even know what we saw just then. I couldn't even tell. I was like, what the hell? So we'll say it was an upskirt shot, but honestly, it was just cloth, blue things. I don't know. Anyway, I think it's time to upgrade our armor. Well, I mean, not really. It's a mage, but you know, like, what would happen in World of Warcraft by this point? We'd have something a little nicer. Let's see. What would be? Well, honestly, it'd be all the same as last time. I don't know. What looks more high level-ish? I don't want to wear a thing that's like a mask. You know, this hat's good enough. Let's just work on the robes. Something that looks... Now, this looks a little too Doctor Strangey. And this just looks like the other the other robe you could... Remember Lola was talking about the cloth, the wool cloth one? I think this looks like the other one you can make. It was just the... I think it was just called... I think it was just a wool cloth robe. And the other one was like bleached wool... I don't know. There's the white one and there was this plain brown one. Burlap? Is that what it's called? The burlap robe? Linen robe. It was a linen robe. Okay. Yeah, that looks certainly more higher level. Okay, let's not run barefoot in the snow, shall we? That's gotta suck. Yes, I am a traveling maiden. Okay, moving on. That went much better than I was expecting it to go. I got really freaking lucky there. I think it ended up being like the total was like 5 or 6 spells or abilities or just moves that should have hit me, and they didn't. So I mean that's different. Okay, why did I get off Torrent just then? It's better to have him for this part. I don't know why I was thinking just then. Speaking of Marvel Rivals, anyone played Daredevil yet? Ooh, he's powerful. But man, playing him properly really hurts my fingers. He has so many abilities that you need to have, like, I wish I could press one button and use all the abilities. Honestly, for his main movement abilities, I'm just fine with. Really? Like, if I didn't have to worry about his Fury ability to activate his Fury, because that's where a lot of the damage comes from. If I could just focus on melee strikes, you know, dashing and that sort of thing, and the deflecting, I'd be just fine. But then it's like, no matter how I would set up the control scheme, I would always have one button left over. Well, now I got to spam that Fury bar because the Fury thing happens so freaking often. Like, it charges so often. Actually, they got to fix that. Frankly, I think he's a little too powerful. I saw someone do 17,000 HP damage with him in a single round. And
Very well.
so what, you're thinking, right? Well, apparently when Squirrel Girl did this, because I was looking at my stats, and I found out that the season before, she was nerfed in Season 4. The season before, I had I was averaging 17,000 HP, or HP damage per 10 minutes, which, none of my other, with Namor, I'm about 15,000, but apparently he's not overpowered. But Squirrel Girl, apparently they did say was overpowered, so I'm guessing 17,000 damage per second for Squirrel Girl is a little bit much. Now, Daredevil's different. He's a brawler. He's in your face. There's way more risk for what he's doing, but I do think the way his Fury bar, first off, he has so much HP, then plus the bonus, the temporary HP, actually makes him way harder to deal with than any of the other flanker diver types. So I think they're going to reduce that to like 300, because 350 or plus he's really hard to kill. And I was surprised at how quickly he gets around, because he's not as fast as like all the other diver types, but somehow he still just flies around. I don't know, you freak out more when fighting him because you know how damaging he is. It's like, and he's not even like burst damage. His damage is very just consistently high. And you can't get away from him for nothing. See, that's another big thing between him and a lot of the other divers. Like, Spider-Man's super annoying, but if you can survive and get away from his initial burst, he'll usually then just run away. Or he'll stick with you. The good ones will stick with you, but Daredevil has the means to stick to you like glue no matter what. And he has enough HP that he can just keep brawling. You can attack him and hit him or whatever if you can. Anyway, this is not a Marvel Rivals channel. No one watches Marvel Rivals video. I was just saying I was playing Daredevil. I wouldn't be surprised if they lower his HP to 300 and they increase how long it takes his Fury to build, or even add like a 4th meter or something. I think they'll just reduce how quickly his Fury builds up, because right now it builds up so fast that I actually had a setup where I was literally just hitting my trigger button over and over and over again. Like, that's it. There was no timing, no nothing to it. I was just like, you know, just spamming it, click, 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 like this. But the Fury bar was recharging so fast that was good enough. That was perfectly, it was like a perfectly decent strategy that worked just fine, because I'd be triggering his Fury attacks like at least every 2-3 seconds, you know. So it was worth doing it. The only problem was it was hurting my finger like crazy. That's what I was saying earlier. Playing him properly, like maximum efficiency, like hurts my fingers. Then again, I have arthritic fingers. Maybe you guys don't. You most likely do not. And plus the trigger button, I actually had to change it to a different button because the triggers don't deal with like rapid presses very well. But then like that. But then the R1, the L1 buttons, it's like, that was a little awkward. Anyway, it's a whole thing for me, for Daredevil. I never get a chance to play him anyway in a round anyway, so everyone's picking him right now. So, yeah, Daredevil. I have a feeling he's definitely going to come off as OP, because like every now and again we're all like, oh, this character is OP, oh, this one's too weak, but he's like, wow, it's like, there's no denying he can absolutely delete a character super fast. And not even just squishies. I mean, even a character, a hero that's like 300, 400 HP, or like a magic that's like all done up with like full temporary armor, he just blows through her like nothing. Like just like bam, 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 she's dead. So even like the 300 or the semi-squishies or the like 350 or Mr. Fantastics. Okay, Mr. Fantastic is different. But even those guys, he just blasts through them like nothing. Anyway, that's enough Marvel Rivals. You're not here for Marvel Rivals. You're here for World of Warcraft. What am I going to do here? Well, you know, standard rule. I will see how well it goes on my own. Where's that stupid spell? I just went past it. And if that doesn't work, I reserve the right to switch to call for my friends, because that's how World of Warcraft is supposed to be played. You call your friends. Okay, Fire Strike. Ow. Okay, that's the one issue with Fire Strike. Enemies usually just run through the stupid damage. Do the AoE zone. Yeah, this is not World of Warcraft. You know, there's no tank just keeping everything all nice and tidy. Ooh, I wonder if I could do this. Yes, I can, but unfortunately he's right there. Okay, well, this. Okay, not very damaging. All right, you're roly-poly. And where was I? Okay, it was on the pillar, but apparently the very edges of his blubber, it counted as a hit, because even though he couldn't actually roll, he was stuck. Well, then again, he shouldn't be stuck on the... So I guess it's fair. So, anyway, sorry, I reserve the right to call a friends. I can't get stuck on anyone. So we are going to call Hughes. Whoop, whoop, yep. Wait, I need that. We'll give Hughes a shot. I haven't used Hughes before. But, you know, if anyone proves too tricky, I will switch to Andrea. Oh, good. Whoops, they know who to fight, not... They know who they should be focusing on. Whoop, too short range. So you, unfortunately, Incinerate and or Scorch. I keep saying Scorch. Incinerate. Unfortunately, Scorch and Fire Blast are actually longer range spells in this. So, damn, I'm spending too much time cycling through spells. Damn. They're playing smart tonight. Oh, I'm using the same spell they're using. Right back at you, jerks. That's probably why they're a little resistant to it. My fireball's bigger than yours. Does less damage though. Press the button, but who cares, right? Well, dodging doesn't work. And neither does Blink, apparently. Okay, this is gonna suck, apparently. I think I need to just focus. I keep spending so much time cycling through spells. Okay, whoops, I need that staff. So, strength. Get this out of the way now, because I don't have time to buff when I'm in the fight, because they immediately cast a spell, like the very second I come through the door. And I'm just going to use what works. I like to use Fire Strike, but unfortunately, Fire Strike was a spell designed for a game where enemies were stupid and stood in one spot, attacking relentlessly, would stand in the fire, no problem. And that's not that kind of. This is not that kind of game. So I am not going to cast it here. You gotta get to Hughes quickly. That's right, you cast your spell and stand there like an idiot. Okay. He got that spell off, so unfortunately this is spammy and not all that exciting, but like I say, I don't want to get stuck on any bosses tonight. Oh, that's horse shit. Nope, screw you. I'm calling on Andreas. That was cheap as shit. He spun on a dime. He was maintaining his speed and momentum realistically that whole time, and then all of a sudden he swings in on a tight turn, and 2 hits registered for some reason. Normally that never. So that was bullshit. That should not have happened. So now they want to be cheap, then I'm going to be cheap. Them's the rules, folks. Okay, what is with this thing? Sometimes it gets stuck, sometimes it doesn't, sometimes it'll go up high, like... Good, we don't want Fatty anyway. He's the actual annoying one. This guy, Skinny, is not a big problem. Generally. I mean, as we all know, they're not... Separately, they're not too annoying. Okay, where are you, Fatty? Come on out. You know, I shouldn't call him Fatty. That's not fair. That's not nice. Oh, good. I had another potion. I thought I only had 2. That would have been bad. Completely out of magic just now. Actually, you know, it wouldn't have been too bad. He only had a little bit of HP left then. This dagger I have, well, it's probably not the greatest thing in the world, but it does hit for like 500 damage per strike, so that should have been enough. Alright, well, I didn't like resorting to a cheap trick just then, but they used a cheap trick on me, so all's fair in cheapness. But you saw that. His roly-poly attack, for some reason, hit me twice, counted as 2 hits. He was rolling in a wide circle, then suddenly he turned on a dime and like shot right at me and went up and over the broken pillar, and for some reason the hit counted as 2 hits. So it was basically one-shotted technically by 2 hits, but it was as fast as 2 shots. Because normally he goes right by you, and of course, as you saw, he had been spinning for so long that probably would have ended after he went by me, right? Like, actually he did. He stopped spinning right after he got by me. That would have been perfect time to heal. I'd been fine, but no. For some reason, it counted as 2 hits on me. So that was bullshit. So it had to be done. I think I am going to skip Placidusax tonight. Not because I think he's going to be a real problem, but because, well, okay, he has a potential to be a real problem. Actually, you know what? Actually, I changed my mind. I'll give him 1, because I'm really curious to see what using that AoE dot will do against him. Because he's a big boy, and that's a big dot spell, so... Actually, you know, maybe it won't make a difference. I think this is one of those cases where the dot is just, you know... The dot, you just take certain damage when you're in the dot. The area doesn't really make that big a difference. You're letting me roll by for a change. You never do your fire. I never see him do the fire breath. Normally he just does the lightning over and over again. Actually, you know what? Probably the lightning is probably less annoying. It's only annoying when you're going down that walkway, but the fire, when you're in front of him like that. Alright, we'll give Placidusax 1 go just to see. I'm just curious now to see what that AoE fire spell will do against him. But skipping him will definitely save me a lot of time, so... Well, someone fell to their death. So we'll give him 1, and depending on how, well, I mean, no, we'll give him 1. Just want to see how this works out, but I'd rather take out the vanilla bosses and have it all set up for Moog, because then I can go straight to I can get this more reasonably done in 2 nights. Oh, shit, that was close. We'll bring back... Actually, no, I won't use Hughes. I'm not going to use Hughes. I'm going to just do this straight up. Oh, wait. Did I use a potion? Crap. Why did I use that? That was too soon to use that. So fire strike, fire strike, fire strike. Fire blast, fire blast, fire blast. Ooh, this is good damage. He decided to just blow up just then. Damn it. That was a lot of damage I could have gotten just then. Ooh, that still hit. Okay, where are you? Where are you? Where are you? Where are you? There you are. Unfortunately, I can't get any attacks off. Can't cast any spells when he's doing this. He'll hit me. No, not now. What? That shouldn't have hit. Stop doing this. Whoa. Oh man, that should have hit. Okay, I got lucky. That should have killed me. I was actually just at the very tippy tip of that lightning blast. I forgot to put on lightning resistance. And that is why I use Bloodhound Step instead. Okay, I'm going too far. But the range on this thing is crazy high. Oh crap, he's gonna do another one. Come on. In front of him is not a good place to be. Oh wait, is he gonna die in a dot? Nope. Long range shot. Okay, it doesn't matter if it's long range. It fades out after a minute. Another boss felled with just a poke of the knife. I can't get a fireball off. I can't get a fireball off. Fine, here's a knife. Poke. Win! Da 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 da. I have a sharp knife. It works better than my spells. No, it doesn't. But not how you expect a fight to end off like this. But you know what? In World of Warcraft, usually early on in the game... Well, okay, this would not be early on in World of Warcraft. This is more like level 50 equivalent content, I'd consider. But the mages would run out of mana and they'd just be shooting away with their wands. Although the wands were actually pretty decent DPS, so... Okay, I gotta get to 40 dexterity, because that's the first cap. Or wait, no, or is it 30? I remember 40 for some reason. Anyway, there's actually, or is it 70? So 40 and 70. Well, whatever. Let's keep going. Oh, I gotta fight one of those stupid knights. Nah. Fortunately, I have to kill him because he's right in the way. But at least I can lead off the fight with some spells. Because these fireball spells are slightly longer range. They're not as long range as some of those crystal arcane spells I had going, but they got some stuff going for them. They got some range. You think he's looking at those fireballs and he's like, why are they not going off? He's looking at those fireballs and thinking to himself, why are they not going off? That's what he's thinking, and now I'm the one who looks like an idiot. Why didn't they go off? They just stopped. Well, I was gonna show him that I can breathe fire too, but my version takes way longer than his. Don't I still have my fire talisman equipped? Come on, let me do some other spells for a change. I don't have... This is a nice casting speed and range. And honestly, spamming fireball was not really that unusual in World of Warcraft. Well, that's more just because of the way the game's mechanics work more than anything. Cheap pass. Trying to use my fire blast since I'm so close. That's what the thing with this flaming thing does. They take damage where you're close by, but it's a little risky. All right, that's enough screwing around with you. You're not even all that interesting. Mythic Stone. Yes, another malformed dragon armor. Sorry, we are done with World of Warcraft Death Knight and this funny armor. So there's the rule. Here's the rule again. Once again, I'll give Malakath a shot first without help. And we're actually making good time. Hopefully this will keep up. At least by cycling through all the spells like this, I'm having a little more spell variety this time around. So you're seeing a lot more spells going off than usual. That's nice. Oh, he knows how to spam too. Remember, I'm using Black Flame Fireball because it acts the most like Fireball from World of Warcraft. It has the Fireball in World of Warcraft had like an extra little dot on it. Actually, Power Blast did too, but this is as close as I can get to that one. Okay, I reserve the right to swap out fire shield or fire armor that they had in for just plain old mage armor for the extra armor. how do you like those dots? Annoying, aren't they? Damn the reach on that thing. Alright, gave him a shot by myself. Now we'll see what Hughes can do. Hopefully it won't just knock them off. Like, I've had a few of these ashes just get knocked off here. Well, that didn't work. Oh, I gotta kill him quick before he kills Hughes. He killed Hughes. Cheap ass fighting through the hacking through his walls. Like, I mean, I know I did the same thing, but still. Doesn't make it any less annoying. Or unfair. Come on. Okay, well, I'm sure if I just focused on fighting him instead of trying to fire breath through a wall at him, I probably would have gotten through this. But anyway, since that was clearly the difference, and definitely would have killed him. Well, you know what? I don't need to make excuses. I'm switching to... Oh, no, wait. Andre was out that whole time, not Hughes? Was that Andre the whole time? Oh, okay. Never mind why he did so well. Okay, just, you know, no screwing around, just lobbing fireballs. Good God, the dog does a lot of damage really fast. Oh my God, I think I hit him in the balls. I think that was a ball shot. How do you stop Malakath when he's flying through the air? Shoot him in the balls with a fireball. I guess I'll stop anyone. Okay, good time. I mean, mostly cheating, but I mean, good time. I mean, the point here is to play the build, not necessarily be, you know, be elite gameplay or anything. I just don't care. This is for fun. It's not for beating some challenge or anything like that. More casting speed. Looks like we should be able to take care of all the vanilla bosses and maybe even get... Ooh. I'd have to actually get into the frozen or forbidden snowfield, whatever it's called. Consecrated snowfields. And that will take some time, and I am not willing to do that tonight. Wait, I was going the right way, wasn't I? No, I wasn't. I'm all turned around.
Come to stand before the Elden, to become Elden Lord. It's a sad state of affairs. To last. To take the throne. I guess I'm Elden.
Come on, bounce like a bunny. Oh shit! What the?
You fought well.
Why does his hit so hard? Oh, that's bullshit. Then again, I shouldn't have had under... Oh, who cares? With him, you just want him dead and forget the... He's not interesting, you just... Oh, crap. If he gets a shot off on you like that, he can become a real pain in the ass. And now you have to fight him straight up. This is... Oh, crap. Have I changed this out yet? No, I haven't changed this out yet. I don't know. Well, I guess he uses magic. I don't know. Just... Great, now I have to actually fight him. What the hell?
Well, until now.
Okay, why are those hitting so damn hard? Okay, I am not gonna get stuck on frickin' Gideon. There is no way in hell that's gonna happen. Not for this stream, not for this run, not with what I'm dealing with. No way. Yeah, there's a comet for you. Yeah, I went melee because I knew it'd send him flying. He'd be bouncing around, dodging around so much, he wouldn't be able to get his spells off. So, while my other self was casting the spells, so, yeah. Honestly, a cheap strategy, but like I said, I am not wasting significant time on Gideon of all people. No way. Feeling I'm going to need some extra potions here. We'll see how it goes with the ones I have. Okay, usual rules. We'll see how it goes. Without help, and I did not rest at the stupid. Damn it, I don't know what the item is to, like, teleport out with your souls intact. I never use it in Elden Ring. You know what? Here. This will distract you long enough until I can find it. Damn, what's the item to teleport out? I never use it. This is taking too long. Oh, this is a problem. Get him, Hughes! He's like, I should probably attack the guy who's just standing there looking like an idiot. With his thumb up his butt, just going, "Gah." Oh god, I don't see any item that allows me to return to... I can't find any item that would allow me to warp back to... Wow, shitballs. Wow, this is starting in a bad way. Yeah, well, that was a shit show anyway, because I was just trying to get out of the stupid fight until I can use my runes, but is there even an item? There should be an item that allows you to teleport back to a Grace. There are in every Dark Souls. They're in every Souls game. I can't believe I've never used one for... You lose all runes, though. Son of a bitch. Not my own fault for not seeing them there. Okay, let's try that again. This time actually fighting him. I know, spammy, but I mean, he's a little fast, you know. It's not, I mean, it's a World of Warcraft build in a game that's not designed for with enemies that just stand around waiting for you to attack them. Oh, you're kidding me. Alright, fine, Hughes, you're in. Like I said, I forgot to pick up the rune. You know what? I didn't care that much about the runes, really. With this build, the points are spread around so much, I'm not going to be able to get the ideal point setup I want anyway, no matter what I do, so... Not with this build. That's the one thing with mages, they always steal aggro. Great, now I gotta do this solo. No! I pressed it! Oh, screw you. So, Andreas time. What the hell? What was that bullshit? Okay, that was just bullshit, whatever happened just then. Suddenly it was just, well, okay, I mean, he was fighting smart for a change. You know, it's just like, I'm not going to stop attacking you. And I'm going to time my attacks perfectly so they go off at the exact moment you finish drinking your potion. And he just kept doing it over and over and over again. So I couldn't even move. I couldn't even use a potion. Well, that was bullshit and a half. At least I don't seem to need more than 2 mana potions. Right in the face. Yeah, okay, I'm just spamming Fireball at this point, but, you know, it works, right? What can I tell you? But I have gone through a lot of my spells more than I usually do. Only because I'm searching for all my spells. Well, okay, I'm searching for all the spells, but honestly, a lot of these fire spells are pretty effective. They actually seem to be worth cycling through them and trying them all. Well, other than the fiery dragon's breath there, it's not the greatest. Okay. Oh, I still had now. Who cares at this point? I'm not even sure what to put there now. Holy resistance. Here we go. We'll do Radagon. Don't care about beating Elden Beast. I just flat out don't like him. We'll try it without, but I highly doubt I'll be able to beat him without anyone. Here we go. Well, I was trying to be clever, but didn't work. Ooh, that was lucky. Heh, great timing, just as I run out of mana. And we'll definitely not have any mana left for... Well, no potions at flasks left for Elden Beast, but I don't care about fighting an Elden Beast, so... This is just bonus content. Honestly, I should have known better to... Pressed. Oh, come on. I pressed it. Well, who cares? I don't care about beating him. So what do I have to do? So, like, who cares? I don't like Elden Beast. I don't care fighting him. I'm not doing that again. So what are we talking about next now? Well, now we're talking about getting to Moog, so I can do some DLC. Running to Millennia, it'll take a while. And... usually at this point I just do the skips, but the skip might not work so well. So I'm going to call it here. I mean, I already told you earlier that this was going to be a shorter stream. I'm not over the issue that was bugging me last week. But, you know, this week I am not too bad, but it's still there. So I don't see any reason to risk pushing it more than I need to. We got most of what I'd usually do in 2 nights done in 1 night in an hour and a half or so anyway. So this was still a good time. So tomorrow night I will looking to finish off the entire World of Warcraft Mage series. Again, remember, Thanksgiving, I got family coming on Sunday, so there'll be no Sunday stream. So I got to sort of squish it all in here. And honestly, I'm getting bored of World of Warcraft Mage build anyway. I want to do other things. Play other games. Anyway... and there's really not a lot of people watching. So, usually for these World of Warcraft Mage things, I get more like a lot more. Anyway, so whatever. Anyway, so hope you enjoyed it. I don't care if you like and subscribe anymore. Anyway, see you tomorrow night, guys. Thanks for watching. Good night.